kids. We have spent a lot of time talking about social media and mental health in our young people. Anxiety, depression, eating disorders, bullying. The list of negative effects can be long.
We know that kids that spend more than 3 hours on social media a day have higher risk of things like depression and anxiety.
Well, tonight there is another reason to set some limits. In fact, new research actually gives us a clearer look at the academic impacts of social media use.
I think, as you mentioned, I think most of the media attention has really been on links with depression, eating disorders, and body image. And there's really not a lot of data so far on effects on academic performance and cognitive performance, even though we know it's such a hot topic now with so many schools implementing full phone bans and stuff like that.
That right there is Dr. Jason Nagata. He is a pediatrician at the University of California, San Francisco. He set out to look into social media use and its impact on test scores. What he found, really important information for parents. We wanted to share it with you. Kids who started using social media as preteens performed poorer on reading, vocabulary, and memory tests. Now, this wasn't a small sampling. They tracked the social media use of 6,000 9 and 10-year-olds. They tested them at the start and then as they got older. Those who spent a lot of time on social media scored 4 to 5 points lower than those not on those platforms.
I think that the most alarming and surprising thing was that even modest or low daily use of social media at this early age was associated with lower cognitive scores.
So why does social media do this? What impact is it having on these young people that you're then seeing in these test scores?
Time spent scrolling on social media often replaces reading, studying, or simply resting the brain. And the constant stream of notifications and short videos trains the brain to seek quick rewards, making it harder to sustain focus on longer or more demanding tasks.
And I'm thinking to myself, Dr. Nagata, right, this is a critical time for kids, right? This is when they're learning good habits. Their brain is still developing.
I think as you mentioned, this is a really important time. These were 9 to 13-year-olds. And I think one thing that's important is technically all of this use was underage use. Technically, you need to be 13 years old to have a social media account. Of course, we know that many kids can just enter a fake date of birth and get around it. But I think one thing to note is that I think that the current rules about not having accounts before age 13 do make sense. And I think this study sort of reinforces that that's really the minimum age that kids should be using these platforms.
What do you want parents to do with this information?
The American Academy of Pediatrics advocates for a family media plan, and that is an individualized set of rules for your household that can include things like screen-free time, so maybe limiting screens at bedtime or mealtime. But also, these are rules that everyone in the household should follow, because one of the top predictors of teen screen use is actually their parents' screen use. So you really need to model good behaviors and habits for your kids.
Is there a way to put this in context, right? I guess, when I was a kid, right, it was television. You were sitting too close to the TV, and that was having an impact on you long term. Is this just this generation's sort of thing that we're talking about, or is it completely different than what we've seen in the past?
When we were growing up watching television, you're consuming information, but you're not really interacting with it. You're not talking back to it. You're not inputting stuff. Whereas now it is very interactive. It's very algorithmic. And so in some ways that can actually have some benefits, like generative AI, you can obviously learn a lot from, and even watching certain educational YouTube videos, there are a lot of opportunities, but I think there are also a lot more risks.
It's such a new technology, right? And it's ever evolving. This is a moving target for you to try to track, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think that one of the challenges of this research field is that every day there's a new app, there are new platforms, there's new technologies being developed, and we really have to try to keep up with it to understand how to best guide kids and ourselves to optimize use.